You're watching Telecom TV's Spotlight on 5G series. It's Friday, the 25th of February, and this is The Slice. Hello, I'm Guy Daniels, Director of Content for Telecom TV, and welcome to our third and final MWC 22 preview programme, before some of us head out to Barcelona next week. On Monday, we'll be returning for a series of daily live shows, bringing you the very latest news and analysis from the event. Well, joining me now on the programme is my colleague Ray Le Maistre, Editorial Director for Telecom TV. And Ray, I can already see that you're packed and raring to go.
Yep, Euros, check. Toothbrush, check. Pre-ground Brazilian bourbon dark roast and travel V60 drip cup, check. Yep, Guy, all ready to go. And also, I've already got my comfy shoes on.
Oh dear, you and your coffee. Who needs booth baristas, eh? Well, let's hope Barcelona avoids this wave of stormy weather that we're experiencing in Europe, and we don't have a repeat of the year when it snowed, because that was somewhat unexpected. Now, there has been a steady stream of MWC-related news all week, some of it public, some of it embargoed briefings, acknowledging the fact that there will be a lot of absentees this year. And you never know, Ray might even be able to get a seat in the press room, and that would be a first. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise has this week announced a new private 5G networking solution featuring pre-integrated RAN capabilities from leading vendors, which can be deployed as a service with HPE GreenLake.
The HPE solution for private 5G is an extension of the 5G core stack that we launched 2 years ago. If you remember, we introduced a fully cloud-native microservices, highly automated, consumption-based 5G core. And those characteristics actually make it very, very useful in a private networking session. It allows us to scale down the solution. It gives a great simplicity for the customers in operating the solution because there's a high degree of automation. It gives us flexibility to explore different deployment options. And in the end, the consumption-based pricing that we were talking about is a key element because usually in the enterprise space, we like to align cost and revenue, and this solution lends itself for that very well.
And Ray, HPE has been working for some time on its 5G core solution, and this appears to be a natural extension.
Yes, HPE has taken a number of different elements from its portfolio, plus RAN technology from Airspan and JMA Wireless, to create a ready-made private wireless offering. And while private 5G is the buzz term, and that's definitely included here, what's critical to HPE's offer and to enterprise users is that it isn't just 5G. The 4G option is also included, and more importantly, so is Wi-Fi, courtesy of HPE's Aruba division. And the combination of the core platform, 4G and 5G, Wi-Fi, software that enables seamless roaming between Wi-Fi and cellular, and the on-site consumption-based mini data center capabilities that GreenLake offers all adds up to something that will tick a lot of boxes for enterprises. This looks like a decent pitch into this very hot sector by HPE.
Yes, it certainly does. And meanwhile, AT&T has also been making news. Late yesterday, it announced a cloud-based elastic scaling technology for 5G RAN, which promises to help create more power-efficient networks. It's been developed through the telco's commitment to Open RAN and in partnership with Intel.
The wireless industry's shift to virtualized and containerized network architectures will be a powerful enabler for both RAN and core, allowing us to do things that weren't possible before. Today, we are pleased to share some exciting developments on a new cloud-native technology called RAN Class 2 Distributed Unit Pooling, which AT&T is co-developing with Intel. We're showing this in action with Intel at Mobile World Congress. Building on the deep vRAN expertise that both of our companies bring, we'll demonstrate Class 2 pooling running on general-purpose Xeon servers and FlexRAN that will allow us to achieve significant capacity gains.
There's a lot of technical detail underpinning this announcement, and we'll be finding out more next week during MWC, but Ray, it certainly looks promising.
Yes, this is giving us an idea of what the future telco cloud is going to look like. The concept of baseband sharing has been around for a few years already, but now we're entering the phase in network development where when this is combined with other advances such as vRAN, the RAN intelligent controller, and advanced chipsets, it starts to become a reality and network asset efficiency is increased. It's interesting to note that AT&T says its deep knowledge of Open RAN technology is one of the enablers for this particular development.
Yes, it certainly was one of the first to see the potential of Open RAN. Thanks, Ray. So, before we leave for the airport and rediscover the delights of economy air travel, here's a roundup of the latest 5G news prior to MWC. Rakuten Symphony and Qualcomm are jointly developing 5G massive MIMO radio units and distributed units. The new products will use Qualcomm's 5G RAN platform and will enhance Rakuten Symphony's SIMware product portfolio of Open RAN solutions. During MWC, cloud giant AWS will demonstrate a 5G standalone private network using the Airspan 5G Network in a Box starter kit and the Ethernet 5G mobile core. Both solutions run on the AWS Cloud and AWS Snowball Edge service. Nokia has launched its latest dual-band radio as part of its Wavelengths portfolio, offering CSPs an alternative 5G backhaul solution using the 6 to 11 GHz frequency bands. The ultra broadband transceiver will be available in Q3. NEC is now offering turnkey automation services as part of its 5G xHaul transformation services, supported by an open ecosystem of network and software suppliers, and it has also launched 18 new O-RAN compliant radios. Fujitsu has developed new virtualized RAN technology with support for 5G standalone that uses AI technologies to optimize computing resources. It claims its vRAN technology can reduce overall system CO2 emissions over 50% by 2025. And finally, Mavenir has unveiled its OpenBeam portfolio of O-RAN compliant radio products, spanning micro, macro, millimeter wave, and massive MIMO. The products support licensed and unlicensed spectrum and will be available to vendors, operators, and system integrators. Good cross-section of announcements there, Ray, although there will be many, many, many more announced on Monday.
Yeah, I'm already giving my inbox a heads up that it will need digital indigestion tablets on Monday because it's going to get truly stuffed.
Let the PR tsunami begin. Now, all this week, we've been looking into some of the key technologies that will be prominent at MWC as identified in our SCOPE acronym, which stands for Security, Cloud, Open RAN, Private Networks, and Energy Efficiency. Today, we're going to cover the final two, starting with private networks. And Ray, after many years, we may just be ready for a big uptake of private cellular.
Well, yes, as already noted with the HPE news, private wireless networks have become one of the hottest areas of development. And while in recent years, Nokia has done well to position itself strongly in this sector with its 4G offering, I mean, it already has about 400 customers. Everyone and their dog is looking to get in on this opportunity. But as ever, major questions still remain. There are tens of millions of enterprises in the world for sure, but how many of them will need a private wireless network? And what will the mobile operators be able to usefully achieve once they crank up their standalone 5G core platforms and enable the much hyped network slicing capabilities? And financially, just how big is this opportunity? Depending on who you talk to, it's single-digit or double-digit billions of dollars during the coming 5 years. But whether it's high-margin business, that's very unclear. Ultimately, enterprises will want to have a very clear view of the benefits that such a service and deployment can bring, and it needs to be compelling. The concept has to start from the enterprise need and work out, which is why the hybrid Wi-Fi cellular approach of HPE and, it should be noted, Cisco makes a lot of sense. The only thing we know for sure is that we're going to hear a lot about private networks during MWC 22.
So that's private networks, and if viewers want to hear more on this, we do have a strategy outlook panel session next week that covers this topic. So let's move on to energy efficiency, where we are starting to see some concerted effort from the industry.
Yeah, this is a topic right at the top of the telco to-do lists. Find new ways to increase energy efficiency to keep OPEX down and make sustainability targets achievable. There are a lot of gains to be had by deploying next-gen networks, for sure. I mean, fiber rather than copper, 5G compared with 4G. And we're seeing a lot of smaller form factor wireless network elements that consume less power than their predecessors come to market. And it's fair to point out here that many operators talk highly of Huawei in this regard. It's been setting the benchmarks for RAN energy efficiency in recent years. But the big gains will come from smart, AI-enabled, cloud-oriented operations. And we've heard on a number of occasions from Rakuten Mobile about how its greenfield network is much more energy efficient than equivalent cellular architectures. And these gains come from a combination of hardware advances and software smarts. Deutsche Telekom also called this out earlier this week as a critical area of development and highlighted what it was doing with solar-powered sites and with new vendor partners. I hope we hear much more about this topic and get to hear about significant advances during MWC 22.
Yes, we'll certainly be watching out for news announcements in those two areas. Thanks very much, Ray. And as well as reporting on the news, we have a whole week of special Spotlight on 5G programs for you. You can watch them on demand or via the playlist on TelecomTV, which will be running Monday through Thursday. Strategy Outlook returns with focused discussions on the 5G core, RAN, edge and private networks, and the cloud, along with interviews from CSP executives and vendors. Don't miss our Top 10 Mobile Moments series, where Ray and I look back at TelecomTV's 20 years of coverage of MWC. It's a fun trip down memory lane. We serve up a fresh edition of The Slice every day of MWC with all the important news and analysis from the TelecomTV team. And then the following week, when we're all back at our desks, it's time for the After Show, our live Q&A program. So start sending in your questions now. But before we end today's show, and by way of a preview of what's coming up on Spotlight on 5G, here's a sample of some of the interviews and discussions we have in store.
When we think about private 5G, I think it's tempting to look at the technology and to put the emphasis on the 5G part. But when many enterprises hear the expression private 5G, what appeals to them is that it's private, that it's under their control, that it's distinct from and independent of the surrounding public network. So one of the challenges that we face is balancing that interest in control against the inherent complexity of a cellular architecture that's frankly unfamiliar to most enterprise network engineers and administrators.
Open RAN is an interface standard. You know, it's effectively the equivalent of an HDMI cable from your PlayStation to your TV. Let's not forget that. I think we kind of confuse what this really is versus what we're actually trying to achieve from it. I think Open RAN has made some great steps in creating new capabilities that will allow us to innovate. So, and I'm talking about the RIC. Where, as you noted a few weeks ago, we turned on one live in Hull, and it's proving to be fantastic and giving us insight and ability to do things with the network that have been much harder to do and much more manual. So we're really excited about the RIC, and I've stated that, you know, for some time.
vRAN, major topic at Mobile World Congress. You'll see HPE and Intel hardware underpinning some of the key vRAN solutions from the leading NEPs in the virtualization of the radio access network space, right? And not only are you going to see concept solutions, but you're going to see solutions that are already in deployment. There's been a tremendous amount of learnings that HPE and Intel have reaped from actually deploying vRAN infrastructure at one of the world's largest tier 1 operators. I can't overstate the value of these learnings, but I will tell you that over the past 2 years, as we've been deploying, we've also been integrating a lot of these learnings into our people, processes, technologies, and solutions.
That's all for today's edition of The Slice. Join us live on Monday at 1 p.m. Central European Time as Ray and our new Deputy Editor Yanni report from Barcelona on day one of MWC. Until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.